we are going to talk about money. Shocker. If you've known me for a while, you know that I love talking about money and that I find it very fascinating. There's so many different levels to it. There's so many beliefs around money. There's so many pretenses around money. We avoid talking about money. Don't bring that up at the supper table. We don't ask people what they earn. We don't ask people about debt. We don't bring up money conversations because it's uncomfortable. I want to make it not so uncomfortable for people, but I want to bring a really big awareness to you about money for yourself. A couple of them today. One, if you are a parent, I want you to think about why it's important for your children to do well at school. You want your kids to do well at school because you want them to go on to secondary education. You want them to do that because you want them to get a good job. And what decides a good, successful job in the normal, not normal, but in most people look at that as an amount of money that they are bringing in. So when you're thinking about your children going to school and what education, I see that so often even with kids going to private schools, or I have to be in this certain school district, or I want to be in the private school system as opposed to the public school system, which in Canada isn't as big of a difference in my opinion. Pump the brakes if your children are in private school, that's fine. I'm not saying they shouldn't, but I want you to think about it, why they're in that, because you want them to have a good job. You want them to have a good education, which really is beautiful because at the heart of it, you just want them to have a better life than you have. That's all a parent truly wants. They want more happiness in their children's lives. And that's great. So great. But we are teaching them that money is the most important thing. So when you say that money isn't the most important thing in the world, I challenge you. Where is that actually coming up in your mind that you don't even realize that you put money at the top? I know there's certain things you won't do for money. I get that. And I'm glad that you don't do some of those inappropriate things for money. Absolutely. We all have morals and standards. But where are you putting money higher than you thought? If happiness paid all of your bills, all your expenses, and maybe even gave you a little extra bonus, what would you actually be doing? We spend a lot of time at work. I don't personally, but that's been a lot of paradigms that I've had to break down. Those are a lot of belief systems that I've had in my life that I've really crushed over the last few years, getting really aware of my story with it all. But what is your story? Why do you go to work? Because I guarantee if you have a job that you don't truly enjoy, that doesn't bring you happiness, that doesn't bring you oh, I'm so excited, because I guarantee you, I woke up this morning, I was like, I'm going to make a video today about this. I am really pumped to share this message. I really want people to think about this. I am stoked to go to work. If you are not, think about how much time of your life you are trading for dollars. But money is not your number one priority. It's not all about money. I get it. So why do we go to work for jobs that we don't truly love? Right? If happiness paid the bills, what would you do? Leave a comment below. Send me an email. Reach out on socials. Let me know what it would truly look like. We don't go towards those things because we have this fear of failure. I actually have this really cheesy analogy, and I don't have the right props, so don't judge my props here. But pretend this is really, really long, okay? And so you put on these fearnoculars. I heard this weekend from Kyle Cease and I loved it. And so you put on these fearnoculars. What can you see? You can only see what's at the end of the tunnel, right? But we put these on, and then we tell our children to put them on. And the people around us have them on too. And we can only see what is at the end. But if you make it shorter, we start to see a little bit more, right? We can see a little wider. And then if we cut it right off so that it was just itsy bitsy, then we could see everything, the whole picture of what our lives could truly look like. But we have these fearnoculars on that we are just staring at what is at the end? We are too close up to the situation. We are too afraid of failing. And truly, what is failing? Failing is just your judgment of yourself. I don't think there's actually, I don't look back at my life and go, oh, I've had all those failures. Whereas I know if I put them on paper and I maybe even put them into Google, they would probably come back with those were some pretty epic failures. Those were some pretty big things. But they weren't, because they led me to here, which I had my fearnoculars on for a really long time, so I couldn't actually see the whole big picture. And now that I can see the whole big picture, I'm just like, yes, let's go, let's do this all of the time. I want to share more and more and more, and I want to talk to people, and I want to help them bust through all of these thoughts and beliefs that they have had for years. It gets passed down through generations worth. If you want a video on that, let me know, because it truly does get passed down. Our belief systems get passed down from our grandparents to our parents to us to our children, and it keeps on going. They say it's actually 7 generations away of how things get passed down. But I'm just going to leave you with, if happiness paid the bills, what would you be doing?